get back to embodying everything that is Baba. Baba is you. I am Baba. And oh yes, before we begin, I made an observation last time that one of the characters sort of looked like one of the Environmental Station Alpha characters. Well, gee, I wonder why that is. How did I not make that connection when I started playing this game? Like, the Environmental Station Alpha playthrough was very recent, and alright, let's just go. Well, I can see why I was immediately drawn to this game now. Yes, so last time, finished off with the lake. Everything in the normal world is still done, but still need a couple more, well, yeah, 2 more flowers to be able to get into whatever this gate is, so only thing left is the solitary island. A little bit of a mountain theme. Or robots and pipes, as it looks like when you get more into here. Huh. Now this is extremely cute. It also kind of makes me wonder, is red and blue actually going to be like included in the game eventually? As far as actions go, they don't really seem very active. I mean, you can change colors and everything like that, but what does that really mean? Anyway, that little divot is there for a reason after all. And right over here. Of course, this is the introductory area, so not supposed to be difficult. No, I hear this game gets real bad later on. I'm mostly pretty much as soon as I finish an area, I'm making a video on each one of these things, so for right now, it doesn't seem too terrible. I'm just waiting for that shoe to drop. Oh yeah, all the way back to the original one. Except you can't get that because, as you can see in the upper left corner, Baba's float, and that kind of puts you at a different z-axis as things that are not floating. So, I mean, while there is, like, still many different solutions to be able to do this, I mean, why wouldn't I just, you know, pull out this old chestnut once again? After all, it doesn't matter what the object is, as long as you are controlling something. The only things that are required to actually make any one of these puzzles work is for an object to be controlled by you, and to be on an object that is Win. And I mentioned last time that it's like the only real thing that you interact with in the game is, well, the only thing that in the game that things really interact with is like destruction. And I guess you can kind of think of like you being on the Win flag as the ultimate destruction, destroying the entire level. Yeah, float. Water is not floating, so I can just go right over it. Skulls are floating, so I run into them. However, Baba's also melts, so not really the most useful thing going on here now, is it? Some real lateral thinking going on here. It's like, yeah, text is part of the world. You know, it's funny because I was kind of recently playing a lot of The Witness, a game that really tries to go very hard into not giving you text instructions, into trying to make it so that you figure out things on your own. And in some ways that's kind of funny because, like, this is like the complete opposite sort of idea, the complete opposite conceit, where text is the only thing that matters and anything else just makes no difference at all. I have been on a real kick of... Oh, wait, how did you do this one again? I've been on a real kick of doing a bunch of puzzle games recently. Took me a second to kind of remember what to do, but here we go. It's actually the same sort of concept as the last area that I just did. I just forgot about that. And then, not that, but just you, because that Baba is now useless. Redundancies in the game do not matter at all. And there we go. Sneak right underneath everything. Oh, these extra stages gonna get real rough real soon. Not looking forward to that. Bridge building, obviously pretty big hint for what exactly you're supposed to do here. I mean, well, first off, that upper rock I can't really get to unless I were to do this. Maybe not do that, but Okay, come on now. There. Try this one again. Very easy sort of concept to get, but sometimes you kind of screw up. Also, is that the first introduction of text in the upper left corner there? Which I think also appears in this one because it kind of builds off the whole bridge building thing. Yes, now text is an actual, for real object in the game. Oh, yes. Now I'm remembering more and more of this one. Oh my god, I cannot believe how, like, I immediately forget everything about what the solutions to these puzzles are. I don't really know why that is. I think it has something to do with, like, talking here, where suddenly I'm just like, wait a second, putting too much brain power towards attempting to say something. Bridges? Probably not. Yeah, text. I mean, text, like I said, the universal rule is that you can always, one, wait, you know, just pressing the pause, or pressing the space bar, and that text is always push and is always causes rules to do. But much like the solution that I had to that other level, this is pretty much the exact same thing. Bridges. Don't really need bridges with everything floating like this. That way you can't destroy... That way you can't destroy the text as you're pushing it over the water. So... Alright, and I think this is where you get into the... Yeah, more coggy type area, as it were. There is something I'm curious about. I don't think I ever actually tried this. Huh. So that does work like that. This is probably something that's going to be coming up later on. Obviously, it's not really something that's even remotely necessary as of right now. But it's sort of interesting. So object kind of can be... Oh boy, I'm going to look forward to when puzzles are using that now. Yeah, because I think this is one of the few times, like, really early in the game when you can... really kind of push around a text block, because it doesn't really appear too... That's not what I meant to do. It doesn't really appear too much. Float, doesn't matter. Get out of here, you. I feel like a lot of these things I've just been able to get the winning condition being myself quite a few times. Oh, also, that was it? Wow. I feel like that went pretty quickly. I guess it's only been like 10 minutes. Hey, you know, that's the whole thing with doing a puzzle game, after all. It's like when you know how to do it, or at least you kind of have a good idea of how to do it when you're starting to come in there, it goes by pretty quick. You know, in some way, I'm kind of surprised that the robots don't look like the robot from Environmental Station Alpha, now that I know what I know. Man, that is still so ridiculous. I saw those credits so many times when I was playing that game, and I knew that name looked familiar, but at the same time, I was just like, no, not ringing a bell, until I happened upon the soundtrack for the game here, and on the creator's channel, and then saw a whole bunch of Environmental Station Alpha videos, and I'm like, hey, wait a second. Alright, water is stop and shut. Baba is you and open. Baba is now... Or, well, key is now key. I got 2 keys. This was... And there's also an extra puzzle after this one, and this was one that really took some time to kind of get. Because it's... I mean, obviously, these are not push. Nothing is push around here. So you kind of have to... So to move objects, you need to manually move objects. And that means to make them you. But if you destroy yourself, that's bad. I mean, this is a pretty simple, pretty straightforward type of puzzle. Because you can just push that win right out there immediately. And again, just making myself the winning condition. As one does. Title of this episode, Baba is Win. This is the one that tripped me up for like a good 20 minutes or something. It is almost literally the exact same thing. It's just one extra block of water. And it's like, man, that makes all the difference, doesn't it? Let's see if I can remember exactly what the solution is. Because from what I recall when I did this the first time, it started out pretty much the same. Because, again, objects in the world are a resource. And it's explicitly not having water sink, so you can't just push text into the water. It's like, do I really need and open and all that sort of stuff? Just like throw away the flag immediately, and I didn't mean to do that. But yes, let me see if I can. However, one of the other important bits to remember is that text itself is also an object, and text itself is also a resource. And so, pretty much like what you want to do here is use that text to kind of be able to approach the win. And there. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to figure that out in every way possible because I'm like, I need to open up 2 parts of the water. I need to open up 2 entrances into the tiny aisle. However, that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to be approaching other text with text. Oh, yes. This is where weight equals space kind of comes in handy because this is probably the first time that move becomes a real thing. And I mean, obviously it is designed explicitly so you can do that. Pretty tricky, and I'm gonna guess that in the future, probably going to be used a lot more. Especially as you sort of have to like program individual objects to sort of move around the way you want them to. Oh yeah, if you are listed as a move object, suddenly you go 2 spaces instead of 1, and if you hit a wall, you like go a space backwards. It's super unwieldy, so damn it. Super unwieldy, so we're not going to be doing that. No. Need that robot to be over there so that I can push out this wind block. Then its services are no longer required, and into the scrap heap it goes. It's another part where I make my own self the win condition. Oh, you know it. Ain't no robots around here no more. But yeah, this is... You know, speaking of programming, it's like a lot of these things are very, very much like programming statements. This game almost entirely feels like a crash course in programming. Because pretty much if you like take robot, it's like you got robot as your variable, as your object, just replace that with a period. And then after each one of these actions, just like put an open parentheses, close parentheses, and finish off that statement with a semicolon. It's like that there. That's you're programming. You're doing some programming stuff, which I think is a pretty neat sort of concept, but also one that is sort of difficult to really make work exactly in the way that I'm describing it. Essentially because you know, programming, you don't have to push blocks around, basically. There's no like real world space when it comes to that sort of deal. Anyway, pretty straightforward one here. All you gotta do is get this to sort of line up. I mean, it's called wireless connection, and you can't go on here. The bog, I guess, which is just green water. Or something. And don't make that robot move anymore. But do make that cog move. They move in the direction that you last pushed them. So I push that one to the right. It'll continue going to the right. And there we go. And there we go. Essentially programming two things to do as you want to. I mean, really, in the way that, like, all these things work, it's... dim signal. This is a fun one. But yeah, in the way, it's like you have, like, idealized resources, and in fact, you can create or not create as many as you want, you know, just by having an object equal an object. Then performs exactly to specification. That robot's going to move when it's moving, regardless of if you want it to or not. Alright, another pretty straightforward type of puzzle 'em up here. Except the only difference here is that they've added a third thing, and you still only have two objects to work with. And it's... although, really, it's like, yeah, it's mostly the same thing. It's like, how do you get that robot back to push in the third one? Except the thing is, as you might have guessed, that the area is called... Oh. Stupid. Of course, as you, it's not what I meant to do. No! Undo everything here. That's not the correct move thing. What am I even doing? Except as you might have guessed from the fact that it's called dim signal, really, you don't need to somehow call those things back. Even though that would be a pretty interesting sort of thing to try to figure out. It's like, it's actually so much easier. You remember how I said that, You remember how I said that, every single piece of text is also an object at your disposal to be used? It's like, yeah. It's actually just pretty much this. You, and... you get a lot of words to work with, after all. In fact, exactly enough words to work with. I like that. It's a very lateral thinking type of puzzle, but it was not an easy one to figure out. Although the fact that the area is called dim signal sort of gave an idea of what exactly you could expect from it. Oh boy, this one. So we got Baba and KK sitting in the jail, not able to do anything. Can push KK around, so I guess we're gonna go do that right now. And obviously you can see wall is stop here, and this is the big hint that you got for the puzzle, which is kind of introducing you to a, like, kind of half mechanic, like sort of a mechanic, but also not a mechanic here. I mean, see, the big thing is that it's not just kind of sitting in the corner, but that you also can push it, like, one way or the other. So let's just get you in here. And now that KK is no longer an object, you can push objects on top of him. And then when he is an interactable object again, he can still interact with objects, just not ones that are on top of him. It is, like... This one took me a while. It is a very weird way, because it's something that seems like it might be a glitch, except it's clearly not. Or is it? Or isn't it? No, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to take the is. Hooray! I did it. And yes, KK is not going to be the one that wins. Baba is the title character. And I'm going to give as much respect to Baba as I possibly can. Oh, you thought that previous one was something to be reckoned with. It's like, yep, no longer having push. All you have is. And it's like, man, that's rough. All right. I'm sure you can probably guess, same sort of concept, except, like, done in a much crazier way. All right, KK, get over there. And we're going to be doing some stuff here. Like, to the point that I might actually want to speed this up a little bit, because it's mostly going to be kind of this thing as I inch KK ever so slightly over and over to the right. He's going to get there eventually. It's going to be the exact same thing as previous. It's just got to do a lot of kind of walking left and right all around here. Very clever puzzle. And I think that this is a very clever implementation of it, but oh boy, does it take a little bit to do. And it is also, like, just a real sort of nutso way of going about doing that. All right. There we are. And there. Oh boy. And of course, again, KK is not the main character, so Baba is going to be the one that wins. Maybe someday, KK, but not today. Already got double the amount that I need to clear this area. All right, last one here. Evaporating river. Which one was this? Oh, yeah, okay, I remember this one now. Yeah, sink, and the cog is going to melt. I don't melt, so I can just walk across this as much as I want, but that's not really a big deal either way. And then obviously 3 skulls here, explicitly because you're not supposed to just, you know, get all of the text and then push it over. No cheating here. Now, and then the idea, and then like I said, melt, so you can't really do too much with that. And with the way that everything, I mean, obviously the goal here is going to be push flag on to win. Because, like, everything is set up for that. But everything else is set up to make sure that, say, water can't be transformed to anything else. Water can't be turned to something that's not hot. Cog definitely can't be turned to something that's not melt. Skull, same thing. But the thing is, it's hot. Water is not sink, so that you can just, you know, push stuff right across here. And in fact, that's exactly what the solution to the puzzle is. Because as soon as it does sink, it just do that. And like I said, and I was saying in the previous episode, sink just means interacts with an object. Since skull is defeat, it is considered an active object and can be sunk. There you go. Kind of a tricky one, because you're thinking all about, like, hey, how can I transform the water into something else? How can I make the cog not melt? How can I do this, that? Nope, it's about manipulating the text once again. It really tries to make you think outside of the box. Literally, because everything's grid-based here. All right, next time, got 2 different areas to go to. Temple Ruins, and what is this one? Forest of Fall. However, Forest of Fall is number 4, so it's going to be a Temple Ruins.